Do you guys remember the disturbing case of Amina and Sarah Saeed? On January 1st, 2008, Yasser Saeed took his two daughters' lives, Amina and Sarah, because he found out that they had boyfriends. Yasser and Patricia had three children, Amina, Sarah, and their son, but all the women in the family feared that Yasser would take their lives if they didn't listen to him. He was abusive and controlling, and according to his cultural beliefs, his daughters were not allowed to date anyone, and he had actually tried to sell them to an arranged marriage multiple times. At 18 years old, Amina secretly started dating a boy named Joseph, but not long after, her father found a love letter that she had wrote to him. Yasser was very upset and began beating Amina until she confessed who this boy was, but she never told him. Within days, Yasser moved the entire family from Bedford to Louisville, Texas. Amina and Sarah were convinced that it was only a matter of time until their father took their lives, so on Christmas Day, they ran away with their mother and cut all contact with their father. But this didn't stop Yasser from trying to track his family and manipulate their mother to returning home. And when Yasser eventually got a hold of Patricia, he convinced her to return home with Amina and Sarah. The girls were terrified and resisted, but eventually gave in when their mother pressured them and reassured them that everything would be okay. But unfortunately, this was not the case at all. On New Year's Day in 2008, Amina and Sarah met with their father to go out for dinner and supposedly hash things out, but Yasser shot them to death in his taxicab and fled the scene. There's actually a recording of Sarah in her final moments when she called police, and you can hear her frantically screaming and telling police that her father had just shot her. Yasser went into hiding for more than 12 years and was placed on the FBI's most wanted list. But in August 2020, he was finally found and arrested in a home in Justin, Texas. And you know what's crazy? His son and his brother actually helped him hide out all these years. Yasser denied taking his daughters' lives, but the prosecution described the motive as honor killings, which happens when a woman in the family brings dishonor to the entire family. Yasser was sentenced to life in prison, and his son and brother were sentenced to more than 10 years in prison. People are being poisoned in ways you would never guess. In August of this year, Erin Mims was celebrating her birthday with her husband at a Houston restaurant, and after returning to her car, she noticed a napkin on the door handle. When Erin saw the napkin, she thought that her husband was playing a prank on her. She didn't really think much of it, so she grabbed the napkin and threw it out and asked her husband if he had put the napkin on the door handle, and he said no. That's when Erin went back into the restaurant to wash her hands. Shortly after returning to the car, Erin began to feel a tingling sensation on her fingers, and after 5 minutes, her whole arm began to feel numb. Erin said she was having trouble breathing, she got hot flashes, and her heart began to beat really fast. Erin was quickly taken to the hospital, and after doing some tests, they told her that her vitals were all over the place. The doctor told her that it was an acute poisoning from an unknown substance, and the napkin situation may have been an attempted kidnapping.
You are looking at the body camera footage from the deputy as he arrives.
What's going on?
Okay. I just ran away from home.
Okay.
And I live in a family of 15.
Okay.
My two little sisters right now are chained up.
They're chained up?
Yes,
Where are they chained up at?
on their bed. Now, mother didn't chain them up just to be mean. Okay. They're chained up because they stole mother's food.
Uh-huh.
But I'm sorry if I talk too much. Okay. I've never talked to anybody out there, so I've never been alone with a person, so it's very hard for me to talk. Okay.
Do your parents know you left your house?
No, they're home.
Do you take any medication?
What's medication?
Medication?
Yeah, what's medication?
Do you take pills? Do you take pills?
Oh, I don't think I've ever taken a pill before.
Okay.
Right, I haven't. But
The girl with the strange vocabulary nervously puts on a little hat, a reminder of one of her sisters who's depending on her.
our parents are abusing. They abuse us. But the reason I called and the reason I managed to get out here, this is one of the most scariest things I've ever done. I'm terrified. But I called because my two little sisters, they're chained up right now.
Do you have pictures of that?
Yes, I can show you. I actually didn't have it, and then one of my sisters told me I need to get pictures.
You have pictures of your sisters chained up?
Yes, but they're in here. Okay. I don't have proof of everything, but I have proof that my sisters are chained up. So see?
She doesn't seem to know the word
Here,
bruised.
you can look at that. See, those are the places that make it know that. And see how dirty she is? We're so filthy. We don't take baths. We don't.
How did your sisters get like this?
Okay.
Your parents chained them up?
Yes.
Mom with a baby stroller steps to the side of the road to allow a car to pass. Then the unfathomable. The wrong-way driver plows right into them. They fly up into the air and crash down onto the car. The driver flees.
I remember hitting the windshield. I broke it with my head. And even worse, I thought my child was dead.
I spoke with the terrified mom who only wants to go by her first name, Rachel. As Rachel was walking down the street with her son Charlie, she locked eyes with the driver and two things went through her mind. She believed he was aiming right for them, and she was sure she and her son were both going to die. The horrifying footage shows the maniac barreling down the alley in Venice, California, and Rachel tried to move the stroller with her son strapped inside out of the car's path. You picked this thing up and...
I don't think I could even do it now. I stepped out, and I don't know how I got it into the air.
But you threw it in, you tried to throw it into the air.
Yeah.
Baby Charlie suffered a tire mark on the back of his head.
You can see that when he's in midair, he's hanging like this, arms, legs, head, and his head is actually grazed by the front left tire.
The 8-month-old was rushed to the hospital and had to be strapped down for an MRI. Rachel was scraped up and injured 3 discs in her back. A Good Samaritan who saw what happened crashed his truck into the 16-year-old fleeing driver. But what happened next is leaving people outraged. The driver pleaded guilty to assault and hit and run and was sentenced to only 5 to 7 months at a juvenile detention camp.
That, to me, seems almost like a light sentence. You try to kill 2 people, and you get 5 months in a juvenile camp.
The sentence is dividing the LADA's office. Deputy District Attorney John McKinney is going public, denouncing his own boss, Progressive DA George Gascon.
I would have been considering attempted murder charges and at least assault with a vehicle.
Gascon is now facing a possible recall, just like the recently ousted Progressive DA in San Francisco.
He obviously cares more for offenders than he does for victims.
The mom is so upset, she's moving out of Los Angeles.
I'm afraid of everything now, you know. If I have to be pushing him in his stroller somewhere, I'm just constantly worried that somebody's going to turn their wheels at us at the last minute and try to kill us.
Poor lady. The L.A. District Attorney's Office tells us they charged the suspect, they say, with the most serious offenses possible under the law. They add it could not be attempted murder because they say there's no evidence that he intended to kill his victim.
Come on in, grab a seat, sip your tea, get cozy. It's time to go in with your girl locked in. Come on in, grab a seat, sip your tea, get cozy. It's time to go in with your girl locked in. Come on in, grab a seat, sip your tea, get cozy. It's time to go in with your girl locked in. Come on in, grab a seat, sip your tea, get cozy. It's time to go in with your girl locked in. Show only on YouTube, only on YouTube.